Hi everyone and welcome to All Star Style, which is the street championship in winter of Series 4 Forza Horizon 5. And we are sticking with Team US for this week, which means we're driving this Challenger Hellcat, tuned by Dania Morozic and painted by PTG Wildcat. Speaking about this tune by Dania, this is not the fastest tune you can find for A-Class, not at all. However, it's all-wheel drive and most of the fastest tunes are rear-wheel drive, which becomes quite difficult to drive for less experienced players. And as you can see, the first race is here in Guanajuato, which means there's a ton of walls around and you really don't want to be smashing them. There's not just walls, there's corners and stuff like that, so if you hit anything you have a really good chance to come to a stall, and we don't really want to make it more difficult than it has to be. So when choosing the tune for this championship, I was not only thinking about being fast but also about it being really easy to drive for the player of any skill, and yeah, while still ensuring the easy victory, which as you can see works just fine because we are in the first position before the third of the race is done. Yeah, as you can see, I don't know this track too well. I seem to be braking a bit too much, taking weird lines and smashing quite a few of the breakables, and still not only being first but building quite a bit of a gap to AI, which I guess could have been wider if they didn't rubber band to me. Anyways, half the first race is behind. You can see that I once again don't have any traffic on the street race. The reason for it is not any mods or anything, it just it seems to be a bug in Forza Horizon 5 when the game comes up on Xbox out of the quick resume. The traffic in street races disappears, and I never really shut down the Xbox or restart the game unless I have to clear the bug or two, and I just forgot really. I started the game, I did the road championship just now and continued with the street one right after, without remembering that the game was asleep and came up from the quick resume. Anyways, sorry for that, but I absolutely hate NPC traffic in street races, so I don't complain about lack of it at all. And with that, we are finishing the first race with a great shot of this car. I really like how this car looks. Very, very aggressive, simplistic but aggressive. There's something primal about it. Right, let's get to the next race. And the second race is Coast Run. Okay, shouldn't be any different. If I remember right, this one has quite a few sharp corners, you know, like hairpin style, which just reinforces my choice towards all-wheel drive, because most of less experienced players in powerful rear-wheel drive would be spinning out or flying out of the corners, so we don't want any of that. But remember to use your brakes. You know, the braking zones for sharp corners in street races are pretty long. Make sure you use them well, otherwise there's no barriers on most of the corners, so when you fly off into the tree, sometimes into the ditch or off the bridge. None of that is particularly nice. I mean, most of the times you just can hit rewind and get back, but it always feels better when you do the race in one sitting without having to rewind. Yeah, that's one of those corners where people often go really wide when you have this track in any kind of online racing. And yeah, I think even AI in faster classes has difficulties with those corners, and we have a really sharp hairpin ahead, so Let me try to make sure. Whoa! I even managed to lock up the tires, so overdid the braking a little bit, but yeah, that's fine. Still made the corner quite nicely. We are very comfortably in the first place. As you can see, the all-wheel drive might be a tiny bit slower than rear wheels on this Hellcat, but it's still super fast for the purpose of beating AI. I guess the only problem with this tune I have is this spoiler. For some reason, the big spoilers on American muscle cars just don't look natural to me. You know, it's it looks great on Supra, for example, but really not on the Challenger. So yeah, I guess it could do without a spoiler, but considering I'm not tuning the cars myself and I'm downloading someone else's work, I won't be criticizing it, especially if I'm using it in the video. And that's the end of race 2, expectedly finished first, so we are moving on to the last race of this championship. And the last for today is Bosque del Sur. Yeah, okay. I guess you already can anticipate the result of how this race will go. The beginning of the race here is quite a bit narrow, so it gets very busy very quickly, especially with this section. You can actually go through the barriers there. It's not much slower, sometimes can be even faster by doing a wider creative line, but what you want to make sure if you do that is you minimize the number of barriers you knock off. Yeah, if you start collecting them one by one, you'll slow down too much, but you can pierce through them and then jump out of on the other side, and there will be pretty fast again. Just another one of those tight slow corners. I don't advise drifting through these corners because it looks spectacular. Well, actually maybe I should be drifting through them because I'm so much ahead, but on the other hand that would give, whoa, yeah, well, you can see. So I didn't drift, but I just went way too wide. I brake in a little bit late and probably a little bit not enough. So yeah, that's what happens. And those wide corners, they might feel like a minor thing, but you easily lose a second there, just in that corner, or half a second or so, and that's pretty massive, to be honest. Doesn't really mean much here against AI, but means a lot if you do the same in trial, for example. May make a difference between being able to catch up the next AI and not being able, so ends up being quite important. Okay, 60% of the race in. Maybe I would prefer dirt race instead. Though I love the car, but you know, just we had a very easy road champ. If you didn't see, there's the video of it is on my channel by the time this gets released, and yeah, the street is not much different. It's very easy. At least we get to drive some nice cars. I don't think I drove it. I guess my only complaint would be is they used the simple the normal Hellcat, not the demon one, because the same, oh jeez, another wide corner, the same PTG Wildcat who painted this car, which you can't really see in the dark, but I'll try to make a good thumbnail, has an absolutely stunning paint for the demon. Go check it out if you like the American muscle and good paints. Anyways, that's finished first, and it means that's the end of this championship. Look at those AI finishing and knocking off the tree. That's quite funny. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.